Hey there. So while facilities maintenance isn't normally a emergency response type of a position, it can be sometimes. And that's kind of where I'm at today. I'm still on Christmas holidays, and I received an email about an hour ago from one of the teachers whose ceiling looks like it's kind of caving in. The roof decking is completely rotted. There's historical leaking in that spot. It was there before we ever received the buildings. The roof decking is just basically turned to mush. This last week we had a lot of snow, and then we had a lot of rain, and we went from -10 to +5 over the course of about a 24-hour period. And this snow and rain, I mean, it's just sitting very, very heavy on the roof. The rubber membrane has stretched so far, it's pressing down on the insulation, pressing down between the roof trusses, pressing down onto the ceiling itself. At least that's what I believe is going on. I've only seen a picture, and so I'm heading there now to check it and see what I can do about it.
Buckle up for safety as I give you a day in the life of facilities maintenance.
So this is the glorious building that I'm talking about, which we will be saying goodbye to eventually. And this is the new construction that's happening here at the school. I pulled in here because I want to see if I can get a little closer to a door. Okay, this is good. It's my truck down there in the distance, and I will be able to drive right up here and drive to the back of the fort, which means I don't have to carry sheets of plywood from the front school parking lot all the way back to here. Okay, so I've had a chance to look at it. I'm gonna have to do a couple of things here. So my plan, since I can't peel back a 10 by 15 foot section of rubber roof membrane on top and do a roof decking repair, that's way more time, effort, and money that we want to put into this building. I have to do a temporary repair that'll work. So I have to support it from underneath. I think that's the best way to go. And so floor to ceiling height is 9 feet, so I'm going to need a few 2x4s at 9 feet. I'm going to need a couple sheets of 3/4 inch. Now, that's where I'm going with this. But before I do that, I need to stop by my office at the high school and I charge up my batteries for my tools, because the last thing I want to do is be halfway through a project over here and have my tools go dead on me. So I'll stop by the office, throw my batteries in the chargers, and then head off to the building supply store to pick up the materials that I need.
And for ease of transport and installation, I just had them rip them lengthwise at the store itself. It's a nice, convenient option that every once in a while I'll take advantage of.
Okay, before I start trying to...
These people are perfectly free to do anything they like.
Push this back up and secure it, I need to get up on the roof and clear off as much of the weight as I can. Get that roof draining again. We do what we can. We just need to get a few more months out of the building, and then we're done with it completely. And as far as the roof in question, where it's coming through the top of that classroom, It's under one of these lakes here. It's this one right here. Could you imagine if that ceiling gave way because the rubber membrane burst? How much water would actually come down through that classroom? That'd be spectacular, actually. Here, the water depth is about maybe 1.5 inches. But if I move here, the water depth is at least 10 inches. So this whole area where we have a deeper lake, well, what used to be roof decking underneath here is now gone. The rubber membrane is stretching and it's pushing down so much and compacting on the insulation underneath it and pushing down on the ceiling tiles, which is why we're getting that collapsing beneath. So what I need to do before I can hope to even raise up that ceiling and secure it beneath us in the classroom is I have to relieve all of this water weight. I could almost use a sump pump up here and just pump it straight off the roof, because the problem with this side of the building is this field is so completely saturated that nothing drains into it. So I may have to get ugly with our downspouts in order to allow mega amounts of water to drain. This water needs to come off of here. It's almost unfortunate that I'm gonna have to cut into these downspouts to create enough of an opening to allow that water to evacuate the roof in a bit of a hurry. But it's really a matter of prioritizing. A few years ago, we had a situation around this building where it was muddy all the way around the building because the water just drained off the roof around the base of perimeter here, and it just turned everything into a mud pit. So what I did at this corner here and at the other corner over there is excavated a very large hole, about 8 feet by 8 feet by 8 feet deep, and then a trench to it, and filled it all with drain rock, and then took the downspouts and brought them down underground and into what they call a French drain. The problem is that this field out here reaches a point where it's fully saturated and it won't take any more water. And so then when that happens, the drain pipes just fill up with water and nothing drains anymore. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to bring that water back out to the surface as opposed to taking it underground. While we don't want the mud on the outside, we've now reached a point where that is the lesser of the problems. And if I don't do something to allow this roof to drain freely, we're gonna have bigger problems inside the room. Well, I'll cut it off down near the bottom, and then when I come back after my holidays, I'll put a 90 on there to at least turn that and send it out this way. So that's kind of what I'm talking about. All of this water has to drain from the roof to alleviate the pressure. If you look at the boot around the that D-vent, you can see that the water has dropped by about 1/2 inch so far. But I think I will try and help it a little bit. I don't know if it'll actually help or just make me feel like I'm doing something to help it. The faster I can get the water off of this area, the sooner I can go back inside and work on that ceiling below. Well, I'm running out of daylight, But I'm starting to make a bit of a dent up here. This problem area is kind of the low point on the roof. And so I've had to take the water off all the other points. I am making some headway. Pretty much got the majority of the water off the greater part of the roof, and I'm only trying to dig out the water that's left in this recessed lake sinking spot up here. But pretty soon it'll be too dark to walk around up here, and then I'll have no choice, and I'll have to go back inside and see what I can do. So if we were going to repair this properly, we'd wait for a day when we don't have rain, so we can get all the water off of here, and then we'd cut and peel back the membrane, and then repair any roof trusses, because I'm sure there's a repair there, and replace all the decking underneath there, and then lay the membrane back down, and that would be a proper repair. If we were keeping this building for another year or two, that is what I would do, but we're not. So I just have to keep the water from turning into a lake up here, which is why I cut and relieve the pressure on our downspouts over there. And if you look over there, you can see the lake that's building. It's going all the way past my truck, actually, which is kind of in the middle over there. So by doing that, I should be able to keep the water at a minimum in this area, hopefully, and then reinforce the ceiling below, and that should get us through to the end of the year. At least that's the hope. Well, I've drained the lake. There was our low spot. Right there. I know it doesn't show up very well because it's dark. So I'll head back down and start working on that ceiling. But now that the weight of that is out of there, my plan is to take those 4 pieces of 5/8 plywood and strap them across the trusses here. And I will use those 10-foot 2x4s. I'll have to cut them down to 9s and wedge them up underneath to push all of that back up flush, really, and then screw into the ceiling joists or trusses. I don't know if it's a truss system up there, if it's just joist. It's probably like 2x8s. Let's call them floor joists, except that that's not a floor, it's a ceiling. So ceiling joists. Yeah, we'll call them that. And so long as they're not mush, I should be able to put a screw into those and support this collapsing ceiling. Remember that battery I mentioned that I said I was going to charge? I'll go get it out of the truck. Okay, this is what I've got so far. You can see how that's pushed that all the way back up. Oh, things are creaking up there. But I've started there, and I've actually pushed that up flat. So now I'm gonna put screws in at every truss line along there, and then cross my fingers, hold my breath, pray, and then remove the 2x4s and hope that that doesn't come back out. I have 2-inch screws, that's 5/8 plywood. However, I don't know the condition of the lumber up there, so I'm gonna go back to my truck again and get some, I think I've got some 2.5 or 3-inch screws in the truck, so I'll be right back because I'm gonna grab those. Here's another look at it from this side. Now I'm actually comfortable using the 2-inch screws, you know, on the ends, last couple rows there, where there isn't the same kind of pressure, where it wasn't bulging so much. It's these center rows that I need to use the longer screws for. And I'm not just gonna use a screw, I'm gonna put a screw with a fender washer, small fender washer, in just to disperse the load. Okay, those 8 screws were 2-inch screws. This is where I switched to the 3-inch screws with washers. The fact that it just spun right here tells me that at least part of this ceiling joist is rotted.
That's what I am talking about. Dropped about an inch, which reinforces my desire to want to put a 2x4 strap across in between the 2 pieces of ply. So that is what I am going to do. Plan to put this in between there, so I never actually measured the width between the pieces of plywood. But when I saw the gap, I thought, that looks like it'll fit. And it's tight at the far end, and I need another 1/8 of an inch at this end. Well, that's too bad. guess I could go back to the shop and rip a 1/4 inch off of that and then put it up. Let me give you a close up of what we got going on here now. I thought maybe throwing an extra board down the center would help, and it would help, but looking at this ceiling now compared to what it was like before, it's just a small dip in the middle. It's not necessary. I'm comfortable that that is now safe. So at this point, it's already 25 to 7, and I've been going at this since 1. I think I'm just gonna start cleaning up. When I come back after the holidays, maybe I'll even throw a coat of paint on there and make it look a little cleaner. It's looking dirty. Not the most elegant work I've done, but sometimes it's not about elegant, sometimes it's just about making things safe. And this is a temporary fix that'll take us to the end of the year. And yeah, then we can say bye-bye to this building altogether. So bye-bye to you. Thanks for watching.